going, everyone? Time to review Feed the Beast Season 1, Episode 2, titled Father of the Year. Spoiler review. Make sure you have seen the episode. It should take no less than 2 minutes to recap the episode, give you the pros, cons, and final score. Thanks again for joining me. Do not forget, I review many other shows, such as Wayward Pine Season 2, Scream Season 2, Preacher right now, which is another AMC show, and of course, in a few weeks, Aquarius Season 2, The Last Ship Season 3, Tyrant Season 3, Mr. Robot Season 2, a bunch more shows, man, so make sure to check out the channel. I also do game walkthroughs, movie reviews, trailer reactions, and a bunch of other TV show reviews. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to check it out, and check out my series premiere for Feed the Beast, of course, which just aired 2 days ago, and now this is the second episode. So anyway, let's get right on to it, man. It shouldn't take long to recap the episode, and I'll give you the pros cons. First off, Tommy ends up quitting his job because he is a wine salesman. But, I said in my premiere review that I'm not a big David Schwimmer fan. I've never really liked David Schwimmer. Like, I don't hate him. I'm not like, ooh, like, oh, he's in the movie, I'm not going to watch it. Nothing like that. But, man, he's brought so much, like, his acting in this show is really good. Like, I thought this was just another great episode. Let me tell you that right now, because I thought the premiere was great. This is another great episode. And I haven't heard a lot of buzz for Feed the Beast. Like, this show needs some buzz, because honestly, I don't hear no buzz about it. And it feels like a show that's going to get canceled within, like, the next 5 weeks or something. And then it won't get a second season or something. Like, I don't know even if a second season could work. Maybe one season and done. But the thing is, it feels like it'll get canceled. Like, where's the buzz for Feed the Beast? I need someone to talk about Feed the Beast, you know. It needs to have a large, cult following or something, that sort of show. Either way, Tommy quits his job, which was a very ballsy move because, he's kind of like, well, we're opening up a restaurant in the Bronx. And he's like, really? Well, when you quit your job, you can't, unquit and everything. And he's like, all right. So he ends up leaving. TJ is in that. TJ ends up going into the girl's bathroom because he's trying to avoid a bully, and he ends up drawing on the wall and everything with this girl. So he's little interactions every now and then. Dion and Tommy go talk to Tom's dad, which I don't know. I'll just call Mr. Marone. He's a dick. He's a douche, and he plays Falcone on Gotham. So he's on his wheelchair and everything, and they're talking, and we'll set a meeting up at 6 o'clock. Maybe I'll invest into your restaurant that you want to do. Thurio, whatever they call it, man. Which means beast. So anyway, he's planning the dinner. Dion's thinking about what they're going to cook and everything. They're all having this conversation. And, well, Pilar stops by. Pilar is actually played by, what was her name? Lorenzo Izzo? Something like that. Isn't it like Lorenza Izzo, which is Eli Roth's wife. I knew I noticed that name when I saw the opening credits a few days ago. I was like, who is she? And then I saw her, and I was thinking, she looks so familiar. And then today it hit me. That's Eli Roth's wife. She's in The Green Inferno. I think she was in Hostile. She's in a lot of horror films, man. I'm like, damn, like, wow, look at you. You're on a Feed the Beast on AMC, man. That's really cool. That's a good upgrade. Either way, that's happening. So she stops by. Dion picks up TJ, and he ends up seeing that he does see, which this is a very cheesy scene, but he sees that TJ is getting bullied by this boy. And the boy literally goes up to the car like, and he's sort of like, Dion's like, there's a problem at Dion's uncle's place, which is a whorehouse. We find out that the Tooth Fairy's man ends up taking one of the girl's tooths, and it's just a big old catastrophe going on there. So Dion is preparing dinner, and of course Tommy's dad arrives. And he ends up dropping a spoon. TJ goes to pick up the spoon, and he ends up finding out that Tommy's dad has a gun with him. So it sort of freaks him out a little bit. He's kind of a little scared on his face. Either way, he ends up making the deal with Dion and Tommy and saying, I want to see TJ every single week or something like that of a deal. Tommy ends up being like, no, because, it finds out the dad's a racist. Either way, Dion ends up talking Tommy into, making this deal so they could end up having the money so he could be an investor. So that happens, man, but he gives a contract. Tommy's dad gives, them a contract and everything. So Pilar ends up looking over the contract, and there are a few slight little problems going on. She tells Dion, and Dion, there's this whole scene where Dion's basically like, no, like, don't tell Tommy. It doesn't matter. Do you want to really ruin more of his life? He already has a lot on his plate. Let's just say it's fine. Just tell him nothing's wrong with it. So she ends up telling Tommy that everything's fine, but there are a few things wrong with the contract. which I'm assuming will come into play over the next few episodes. So anyway, that ends up happening. Tommy is at Ree's grave, his wife's grave, and ends up talking, how his day was and all that. Tommy thinks his dad hit his son because when TJ arrives home, well, he has the bruises, but it's by the bully from the school, which TJ really doesn't clarify, and Tommy gets angry. He runs over to his dad's place. He ends up fighting his dad a little bit, a little toss over him. And one's in a wheelchair, one's on a wheelchair. So somehow Tommy's dad freaking just overpowers Tommy. He's on the floor and he pulls a gun out and he's like, "I would blow your brains, but that's like a $30,000, Indonesian rug or something." And that's cold, dude. Like, he just ran out. Tommy left. So, at the end, and I love this part, this is where David Schwimmer shined. David Schwimmer literally freaking brought that there. Because he's like, "I'm not going to be working with my dad. I don't care whether he's investing it or not." Like, he just went hard and ham on the whole thing, man. I loved it. Either way, Dion ends up being like, "Okay, alright. And then he's right there in front of Patrick, the mob. And he's sort of like, it's like, "Is there a problem?" "Nope. We're all good." So basically Dion, because Tommy still doesn't know that this whole thing is like for the mob and paying back the mob. Like, he has no idea. And I really think Dion should have been straightforward. Like, "Hey, if this doesn't happen, you guys are going to die. Or you could lose limbs, or you could lose teeth." And like, he should probably warn his family. But, I would be straightforward, honest, and say, "Yeah, this is the reason why we have to do this." But still, Dion still hides it, so I'm assuming it'll come into play later within the next few episodes. Starting off with the pros, I really enjoyed Dion and Tommy during this episode. Of course, the ending of the episode was really, really strong, just from Tommy and Dion's perspectives on how different they are. Dion's situation and Tommy's situation from his son, and then Dion trying to save his own skin. I really do enjoy those characters and the way they're written, the way they're acted out, because the acting in this show is pretty damn good. I mean, AMC really knows how to make their shows. I love the directing in here, the tone of the show. Like, honestly, there were only maybe 2 or 3 scenes that really didn't get me, or I didn't feel the power, or, I was maybe too low at the time, or I just didn't feel the scenes, you know what I'm saying? But Jim Sturgis, man, he's a really, really good actor, and I believe he's a British. He's not from the U.S., and again, the U.S., I mean, the British and Australian people, like, the people on the other side, baby, they're so good at doing, like, impersonations, man. You're so good at it. He literally does a fantastic job. Jim Sturgis as, like, this Brooklyn guy. I love the way his accent is. He's my favorite character in the show. And also David Schwimmer, dude, his character Tommy. I love, like, stuff happened in this episode. He quit his job, and now he's dealing with his father and his life again. And I mean, there's just so much going on with their characters that it's so good on how it's acted and how it's written. And this episode, nothing feels stuffed in here. It feels like stuff actually happened in this episode. There are some episodes and shows that nothing really happens in an episode. It's just dragged out. This actually had storyline. It actually had a bunch of stuff going on. But there are a few things I didn't like about the episode, but we'll get to that in a few seconds. Of course, the acting. I love the whole dinner part where even when they're talking about what they're going to make for dinner, and right when the dad eats the dinner, he's just being a douche, and like all of it, man, because I literally felt hate for the dad. I was like, fuck, like whatever, man. Like, just, you felt that hate and anger, so the actor's playing it so damn well. He's doing his job where you want to hate him, and you should hate that character. TJ, of course, more stuff what they're doing with TJ, and I'm very interested to see how they're going to end up playing with the bully situation. How are they going to resolve it when Tommy ends up finding out that it wasn't his dad, it was the bully at school. So the only cons I really have to say about this episode, again, just like I said for the premiere, the whole cop thing, and now the cop is the father of Dion's lawyer. Her dad is the cop that's threatening Dion, that he wants Dion to be a snitch. That whole connection there, I'm not really digging that. I really don't like that storyline, nor do I really enjoy the cop. I'm not saying nothing bad about the actor who plays that cop, but I don't care for that storyline. Just stick with the mob, stick with the dinner, stick with the restaurant, stick with all that. But this whole cop being a snitch, trying to take the mob down and all that, I'm not really digging that whole thing, or at least just the cop in general, the way that he's presented, the way that he's shown, and how he's just so like a cliched cop, basically. I'm not a big fan of that whole situation going on in the show. As well as there were slow scenes with Pilar, of course Eli Roth's wife. There were very slow scenes with her. And I think my least favorite scene this episode is when Pilar and Dion are talking, and that's when Dion's saying, like, no, just cover it up. Don't tell him about the contract. That scene there, because let me tell you, Eli Roth's wife, I mean, everyone know. I think a lot of people know this, and no hate towards her. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She's got all that, going for her. But she's not a good actress. She's really not a good actress. So you could see when she was like, she's just a girl that belongs in a horror film that would die in the film or something. Like, she belongs more in horror films than a straight up drama. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying she's a horrible person. I don't know her in real life, but she's not a good actress, and that's just the truth. So that whole scene with Dion and everything, and the whole setup there, I wasn't a big fan of it. That was kind of that slow-paced scene going on. There were a few slow scenes in here, but overall, I thought it was another great episode, honestly. So I'm going to give this Feed the Beast episode an A-, man. I thought it was a really great episode and very strong for a second episode. Parts of it were better than the premiere. I honestly loved a lot of parts because it continued the story right where we left off. I love it when they open the door and Dion's like, gentlemen, and, all the food he cooked, man, very sexy and just beautiful, like the rack of lamb or whatever they call it, man, like a bunch of beautiful food there. Of course, Tommy's dad really triggered me, so a lot of good writing for this show. I mean, I think this, sadly, AMC is not giving the show much credit or much promotion, and a lot of people should be watching this show, so make sure to tell your friends, Feed the Beast. It is a great show. It's one of those underrated shows that no one's talking about. I enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Make sure to comment down below, tell me what you thought about this episode. If you enjoyed the review, make sure to like, comment, and share, and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next Tuesday for more Feed the Beast. Until next time, you guys have yourself a great week, a safe summer. Bye-bye.